Welcome back. MTG Joe here. We're here for a weekly meta breakdown for the standard best of one format. I'm gonna be honest with you folks, the decks that I highlighted last week, the week before, the week before that, the week before that, the week before that, the week before that, pretty much the same decks. The standard best of one has somewhat homogenized into what we're seeing on the screen here of mono red convoke, mono red aggro, Azorius control, mono white humans, and then pretty much like domain, maybe some toxic mixed in there. The deck lists are pretty similar. Usually I will try to find, innovations or stuff like that, kind of highlight the trends. There wasn't much this week. So instead, what I thought I'd do, I know every so often in the metagame videos, I'll highlight like off meta deck of the week, something that's putting up results. I actually put together 5 decks that we're going to cover today, of which all are, positive 55% win rate, which I think is reasonable in a best of one format. And these are both ladder decks and then individual decks folks have done well up to Mythic Rank with. So more of an off meta kind of unique decks or decks that don't see much play right now that are putting up reasonable results. So if you're looking for like a break from smashing Monastery Swiftspears into each other or hoping that you have an artifact for Gleeful Demolition before your opponent temporarily lockdowns you, check out this video. So we get the data from UntapGG, what you see on the screen, companion tool that basically tracks your win rates, gives you a bunch of cool in-game options and like overlays. Free to use most of the features. The link is in the video description below if you want to get started. I will paste all these deck lists and timestamp them, so don't worry about it. You can copy paste to your heart's content. Apologize for my voice, I'm a little congested today, but we will truck through. So before we get to the decks themselves, I want to show you guys something funny. I like looking at stats. I found stats that actually confirm that mono green was banned in standard. I've never seen a win rate this low for this sample of games. Someone, and you know what? They like basic forest, has played 120 games and they've won 14% of their games. And they just keep playing. And they're like, I will make this Archdruid's Charm Sharp Eye rookie deck work. Damn it. 14% win rate. Just, wow. Kudos. I'm really upset that I spent 3 rare wildcards on Axebane Ferox when it first came out. But we'll jump into the decks themselves. So Izzet Pirates, 57% win rate. So this deck's nice now because you got a couple different 1-drops where before you didn't have enough 1-drops. Goblin Tomb Raider gets haste if you have an artifact. Lots of ways to make artifacts with like Spyglass Sirens or various treasures. Because you're playing a pirate deck, you get to take advantage of Cavern of Souls. You also now finally have Spire Bluff Canal, so it gives you a bunch of dual lands. You have Captain Storm, Causium Raider, 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever an artifact enters battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target pirate you control. Malcolm could flash in, gives you some draw discard. Then you have Malcolm the Eyes. You got all the Malcolms. Malcolm Tron, 2 mana, flying haste. So just the evasive creatures kind of mixed into there. Whenever you cast a second spell per turn, you can investigate, which is nice. Creates that artifact that triggers a lot of the synergies with the deck. Staunch Crewmate helps you dig for cards, pirates or artifacts. Subterranean Schooner gives you some explore triggers, helps you kind of play off the top of your deck. You have Breaches. Breaches is a very powerful card. Lets you on attack trigger based on the number of pirates you attack. Create a treasure. Target creature can't block or exile top card of your library. May play it this turn. Very powerful. Godric for the kind of play 2 effects. You get various things that could make 2 treasures or stuff like that. And then Kitesail Larcenist as some removal. Then we have Hellspur Posse Boss. I've had this a couple times in draft. Quite powerful. Other outlaws you control have haste. Well, pirates are outlaws. And enters battlefield, you create 2 mercenaries, which instantly get haste. A frenzy in here. I think I would just probably cut the Witch Stalker, play another Voltage Surge. I could see even just playing another like a 5th 1 mana removal spell. Just something that allows you want to kind of maximize on your play 2s to trigger some of the effects. Even just maybe another like the 4th Staunch Crewmate for a card advantage. See Godric being the odd card out. You have a lot of 2s, so I think that would be kind of where I would go in terms of the deck itself. Then we go to mono black skeletons. We've had various versions of the skeletons, but I think with this one here, it's less all in on the skeletons, and it's just got some better, I think it's better constructed in terms of being like a mono black mid-range deck that happens to have a skeleton sub-theme, as opposed to just, going into Arena, typing the word skeleton, and then clicking 4-ofs until you fill a deck. So good one drops, Cult Conscript, as well as Forsaken Miner, Tiny Bones being a skeleton in here. Some of the lists play like Tiny Bones joins up, but you don't have a density of legends. So it oftentimes doesn't do too much. A lot of cheap removal, which is nice. 8 1 and 2 mana removal spells. Case of a Stash Skeleton gives you a skeleton, then it could become Demonic Tutor. Corpse of the Lost gives your skeletons haste, and then when it enters the battlefield, you get a skeleton. In the beginning of your end step, if you descend to this turn, card goes into your graveyard. You can maybe pay 1 life. If you do, return Corpse of the Lost its hand. So it lets you just kind of stack by it over and over again. Some Gix for card advantage, Trespasser as a way to eat the graveyards, gain you some life. Incidentally, also trigger Crime for Gissa, which makes zombies. While the zombies aren't skeletons, she does give a Lord effect to skeletons, which plays pretty nicely. Some Shieldreds just as a big wall. And then Gix's command as a sweeper, life gain, rebuy style effect. Some Sandstorm's Verge, which is, you're like, but why this card? It's because you target your opponent, and then you get the stuff from Gissa. And then Field of Ruin as well. Then go to Boros Heroic. So we've seen a lot of mono red decks. We've seen some of the Gruul kind of prowessy decks. Heroic's a deck that sees some play in Explorer from time to time. We've had various Illuminator Virtuoso decks in the past, but this one here, you got Virtuoso, you got Fugitive Codebreaker, you got Slickshot, you got Monastery Swiss Spear, then you have protection effects like Lauren's Escape, Homestead Courage in here to put counters on your things. Blessed Defiance gains lifelink, which is pretty big in the like mono red kind of matchup. Just, gaining 5 and life, depending on how you stack, could be pretty big. And then notably with a lot of these, you have effects when your creature dies, you get another creature, which is pretty big because you have a lot of cards that are reliant on creatures. So Blessed Defiance gives you a 1/1. The Felonious Rage gives you a 2/2 detective, so kind of ways around that. And then a big swing is like Angel Fire Ignition. You throw that on a Virtuoso, you just completely overrun your opponent in that respect. Are these your human rogue, your rogue? Gonna just see if you can get away with Cavern in the deck. I mean, you could name Rogue from Cavern. Good work. Boros Heroic Rogues. So then we got this deck here. It is from Wukalar's profile. They are 27 and 19, 57% win rate. They got into Mythic with this deck. It is a Golgari Fight Riggin deck. So call your friends, let them know new Fight Riggin just dropped. So Fight Riggin cares about putting counters on stuff. It's a hideaway card. And then if you have a creature with 7 or greater power, you get to cheat something into play. Well, Pugnacious Hammerskull and Shakedown Heavy, 7 3-drops that curve naturally into Fight Rigging. Same with the Archfiend Adros. You can cheat into play like Vein Ripper, Flesh Gorger, Virtue Persistence, Hardcast. So this one's not like all in on being like, I'm going to find the biggest creature possible, cheat it in. Those decks historically get kind of awkward when you draw those big cards and not the Fight Rigging. Virtue's just a 2-mana removal spell, so it's really like here on curve. Gains you life, which is important, and then late game it's kind of recursive threat. Gix Command with all these big creatures gains you life, sweeps. Mosswood Dread Knight for card advantage, Bramble Familiar for ramp, or late game you could, even just hitting it off the Fight Rigging, you could cast Fetch Quest to kind of dig for another big creature. So it gives you kind of another reroll to find one of your big spells. And then lastly, we have from Kilo Keys, 25 and 14, 64% win rate with this one. And it is Abzan Humans. So we have Mosswood Dread Knight. So we have your typical white humans, recruitment officers, Luminarch Veteran, Copper Cove Vanguard, Single Thalia, Extraction Specialist to get back your cheap stuff, Adelins. But then you got some cool cards. Goldvein Hydra. While not a human, just a big beater on the top end. When it dies, you get a bunch of treasure tokens. You have Mosswood Dread Knight for card advantage, and then also just a recursive threat. Honest Rutstein kind of rebuys your creatures. So you can like early game, throw out a Goldvein, help you ramp, then get it back, and then replay it. Thalian, the Gitrog monster, just really hard to attack into creatures, kind of akin to Glissa with the first strike death touch. Play additional lands, creatures you control, or creatures and non-basics your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. And so it kind of gets around the haste effects of a lot of the red creatures. And then when it attacks, you could sacrifice creature or land, then draw a card. You can like sacrifice your gold main, get a whole bunch of treasures, get it back with the rest seed, and kind of do it again. And then you have some Knight Errant of Eos to convoke. So it's kind of a Abzan mid-range. I think it's like, I forget. Maverick in Legacy is the kind of mid-rangey kind of strategy with like lines and stuff. I might be wrong. But kind of a cool one here with Abzan colors. That's it for this week. Like I said, just wanted to get some of more unique decks. If we look at the actual like metagame, it's literally just the same stuff that we covered in past weeks. Like if I go to Mythic, it's just going to be Team Ramp, Convoke, Mono White. Pirates doing pretty well. Actually Demir mid-range, but we've like seen these decks for the most part like over and over. This is actually old. Convoke, mono white, mono red, mono white, mono red, and then we go to the 14%ers. So unless you want to play mono green, which I cannot endorse you in good faith to be playing mono green. I think they might just be conceding games, but in any case, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one, and Bloomborough rotation, come soon and save us.